Welcome to Dreamy Sleep Tales. I'm your storyteller, and tonight we're embarking on a magical journey to the snow-blanketed realm of Snow Pine Village. In just a moment, you'll meet Noelle, a brave 15-year-old weaver of light who must uncover hidden secrets, face ancient shadows, and master the lost art of lantern weaving to save her home. So grab your coziest blanket, dim the lights, and let's slip together into the enchanting world of Shadows over Snow Pine. Don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss a bedtime adventure. A deep silence settled over Snow Pine as the horizon blushed with the last light of day. Each cabin wore a thick quilt of snow, and the windows glowed with golden warmth. Pine boughs dripped with hoarfrost, and the air tasted of crystal and cedar. Only the distant call of a lone owl broke the hush, its mournful note echoing through the pines. 15-year-old Noelle stood at her window, breath fogging the cold glass. Tonight marked the festival of the longest night, when the sun paused at its farthest point and darkness reigned for a full turning of the hourglass. In the village square, torches were lit, and families gathered beneath banners of silk and snow. But Noelle's heart fluttered with unease, not excitement. Below, her grandfather's workshop lantern cast a warm glow through the frosted panes. He had spent all day tending the grand lantern, the colossal beacon perched atop the old watchtower. Its flame, he explained, kept at bay the shadows that once roamed these woods. Without it, they whispered, the land's ancient guardians would stir once more. Noelle wrapped her wool cloak around her shoulders and slipped out into the snow. Each step crunched underfoot, sending flurries into the air. In the square, villagers raised their lanterns, their voices rising in an old hymn. Light of ages, clear and bright, guard our dreams throughout the night. The melody climbed into the sky, weaving warmth against the cold. Noelle paused at the foot of the tower and called up, "Grandfather, I'm here." High above, her grandfather's white hair caught the lantern light as he emerged onto the balcony. His pale eyes, normally gentle, carried a sharp worry tonight. He held in his hand a small brass key and a satchel of oils. "Noelle," he greeted, voice steady despite the chill breeze. "The lantern must stay lit without fail. Tonight, you will watch the flame, and I will see the village through the festival's start. Promise me you will not leave this watch." She nodded, gripping the tower's railings. "I promise, grandfather." He placed the brass key in her palm. "Should the flame falter, use this to stoke it. But trust your heart. No shadow can survive where light truly shines." As he slipped back inside, Noelle cast her gaze across the square. The villagers' eyes lifted to the tower, hope glowing as brightly as their lanterns. Taking a steadying breath, she turned toward the narrow staircase that led to her vigil. The wooden steps spiraled upward, each tread dusted with snow that had blown in through the open doorway. Noelle climbed, her cloak trailing behind her like a comet's tail. At the top, the heavy iron door creaked as she pushed it open to reveal the lantern chamber. Inside stood the grand lantern, an enormous wrought iron cage holding a perfect crystal orb. Within the orb, a flame glowed, pale gold at its heart, fiery gold at its edges, as if the sunrise were bottled in glass. Noelle stepped forward, brushing a hand against the cool metal. From the satchel her grandfather had given her, she lifted a vial of oil, its surface shimmering with tiny motes of light. Carefully, she poured a few drops onto the lantern's wick, watching as the flame steadied and brightened. Beneath her boots, the wooden floorboards hummed softly. Noelle pulled her cloak tighter and peered out the narrow windows. Through the falling snow, she could see the villagers' lanterns shining like a sea of stars. Suddenly, a gust of wind howled through a crack in the tower wall. The lantern's flame flickered, shrinking as if struck by a cold hand. Heart pounding, Noelle sprang forward and pressed the brass key to the wick, turning it once. The flame surged back with newfound vigor, casting long shadows that danced across the icy walls. She exhaled, relief flooding her chest. "Stay strong," she whispered to the lantern. "We need you tonight." For a moment, the wind died, and the only sound was the quiet pop of the flame. Noelle closed her eyes, focusing on its warmth. But even as she listened, a distant crackle reached her ears, like branches snapping under weight. Her heart caught. In the stillness, that faint sound felt ominous, as if something waited just beyond the light's edge. Determined, she straightened. "I will keep you burning," she vowed, "no matter what comes." Below, the hymn swelled to its final verse. Noelle recognized the melody that her grandfather had taught her long ago. "Guard us through the darkest hour by your steadfast, glowing power." The last note faded, and the villagers began to cheer. Their faces upturned, illuminated by the grand lantern's beam, bore smiles of triumph. Noelle tapped gently on the glass. "I'm proud of you," she said aloud. But when she turned to adjust the oils, the sound of a door sliding shut snapped her attention back to the chamber's entrance. It was ajar, though she was certain she had closed it. Stepping forward, she pushed it wide and found the hallway empty. Her grandfather was gone. A chill deeper than the winter night ran down Noelle's spine. The satchel and the brass key lay where he had set them. No footprints marred the snow-dusted floor. She swallowed, voice trembling as she called, "Grandfather, where are you?" Only silence answered. The lantern's warm glow seemed suddenly fragile, as if held together by hope alone. Noelle backed away, panic rising. Clutching the key, she descended the stairs 2 at a time. Outside, the villagers' jubilation continued, oblivious to her fear. At the square's edge, the village elder, Mervyn, noticed her rushing form. "Child, what troubles you?" he asked, stepping forward. "My grandfather, he's gone," Noelle gasped. "He was with me, and now he's vanished." Mervyn's face paled. He exchanged a glance with the blacksmith and the healer, who hurried over. "We will search for him," Mervyn said gravely. "But the night grows deep. If the lantern's flame falters—" "No," Noelle interrupted. "First we find him, then we protect the lantern." The healer placed a hand on her shoulder. "Your courage honors your family's name, but you must be cautious. The whispering woods are not safe at night." Noelle straightened, eyes blazing with determination. "I know, but I won't let shadows win. I will find him and save our village." By torchlight, Mervyn led Noelle to the old chapel at the village's edge. Its tall doors groaned as they pushed them open. Inside, frosted stained glass cast muted rainbows across the pews, and candles flickered on stone pillars. At the altar lay her grandfather's journal, leather-bound and dust-covered. Noelle hurried forward, fingers trembling as she opened it. The pages were filled with precise diagrams of lantern components and handwritten notes on oil blends. Then she found something entirely different. Sketches of ancient runes swirling like eddies of frost, and beneath them a single phrase: "When the flame falters and the keeper is lost, the weaver must journey to the hollow of silent pines. There, the heart of ice awaits the light of memory." Her breath caught. The hollow of silent pines lay deep within the whispering woods, a place few dared enter. If the lantern's magic truly wove through her blood, then she was the weaver the journal spoke of. Noelle looked up at Mervyn. "Grandfather left these for me. He knew this would happen." The elder's gaze was solemn. "Your grandfather was more than lantern keeper. He was part of a lineage that bound memory and magic. You carry his gift, Noelle." A gust rattled the chapel door. Noelle closed the journal, resolve filling her chest. "Then I have no choice. I must go after him." Mervyn nodded. "You will need guidance. This forest tests every heart. But there is one who can help. A creature of dream and starlight." Before she could ask, a soft voice chimed like bells. "You seek the path through shadows and snow." From the shadows emerged a fox, fur white as new fallen snow, eyes the color of molten gold. Its tail shimmered with specks of stardust. Every step it took left tracks that glowed faintly before fading. "I am the dream fox," it said. "Without the grand lantern's light, my power wanes and nightmares slip free. You, Noelle Weaver, are the lantern's hope. Will you guide me to restore both flame and dream?" Noelle met the fox's gaze, heart pounding. "I will," she whispered. "But first, I must find my grandfather." The dream fox dipped its head. "Then let us begin before the shadows close in." Noelle tucked her grandfather's journal safely into her cloak and stepped out of the chapel into the moonlit square. The grand lantern's glow still pierced the swirling snow, a lone beacon against the deep night. At her side, padded the dream fox, its paws leaving glimmering prints that faded almost as soon as they appeared. Mervyn offered a solemn nod. May your heart guide you true. We pray for your safe return. Noelle lifted her chin, breath forming clouds in the frosty air. Thank you, Elder. I won't fail. Turning toward the forest's edge, she passed under the arch of wooden timbers, marking the whispering woods. Beyond, the trees stood like silent sentinels, their boughs heavy with snow. The fox paused, whiskers quivering as it sniffed the air. Follow me, it said softly. The path is clearer by starlight, though be wary, for these woods remember every footstep and dream. They entered between trunks that loomed like columns in a grand cathedral. The wind hushed here, and fallen snow carpeted the ground in pristine stillness. Strange motes of pale blue light drifted between branches, sprites of dream energy seeking warmth. Noelle's heart fluttered as she remembered her grandfather's tales. The forest was older even than Snow Pine itself, a place where magic seeped from the soil and memories lingered long after they were born. If her blood truly carried the weaver's gift, this was where it would awaken. Ahead, the fox halted at a pair of towering ice columns joined by a sinuous lintel, a natural arch sculpted by winter's breath. This is the Arch of Frost, whispered the fox. It shields the deeper woods. Only those who prove their memory may pass. Noelle stepped forward, tracing the arch's rim with her gloved fingertips. Intricate runes were carved into the ice, their patterns shifting like living frost. Speak the song of guiding light, and winter's heart will show the night. She closed her eyes, remembering the lullaby her grandfather had sung on nights too cold to sleep. Sleep, my child, in dreams of white. The lantern's flame will guard your night. Her voice caught on the first line, but then the melody bloomed, soft and clear, filling the hushed woods. As she sang, the runes glowed, and the arch's center dissolved into spiraling frost, unveiling a narrow tunnel that led deeper into darkness. Noelle stepped through, heart racing. Behind her, the passage sealed with a gentle sigh, and the rune's glow faded. The tunnel opened into a vast cavern, lit by ghostly icicles hanging from the ceiling like chandeliers. Their facets caught Noelle's lantern beam and refracted it into dancing patterns of emerald and sapphire. The air was still, as if the world itself held its breath. A deep hoot echoed from the heights. Perched on a crystal outcropping was a great snow owl, its wings half spread and eyes gleaming, one silver, one gold. "I am Greta," the owl intoned, voice resonant and wise. "Dream fox, you bring the weaver's heir to our realm." The dream fox bowed its head. "Greta," the grand lantern faltered and keeper weaver vanished. "Noelle seeks the hollow of silent pines to restore both light and lost dreams." Greta's gaze settled on Noelle. "You carry courage, child. But do you understand the cost of memory? To weave the lantern's light, you must bind your soul to its flame. There is no turning back." Noelle squared her shoulders. "I must try. My village depends on it." The owl ruffled her feathers. "Very well. To reach the hollow, you must first retrieve a shard of heart ice from the frozen brook. Only it can unlock the path ahead." "How do I find it?" Noelle asked. "Follow the motes of dreamlight," Greta said, spreading her wings. "They know the way. But beware. Shadows from your fears may rise to claim the shard." With that, Greta took flight, her wings stirring frost that glittered in her wake. The motes stirred as well, drifting down a sloped corridor where cold air whispered secrets through the ice. Noelle and the fox followed, footsteps echoing softly. Every so often, she glanced back to ensure the arch had sealed, cutting off the world behind them. Ahead, a distant murmur of running water beckoned. The corridor opened into a snow-blanketed clearing where a brook, its surface smooth as glass, wound between ice-crusted stones. The motes hovered above the water, clustering around a jagged cluster of heart ice embedded at the center. Noelle approached, eyes fixed on the shard, pink-veined crystal glowing softly beneath the ice. She knelt and tapped the surface with her glove. The ice shivered, then cracked in delicate patterns. "Careful," murmured the dream fox. "One wrong move, and the brook will trap you in its frozen grasp." Noelle drew the brass key from her pocket. Following Greta's counsel, she laid the key flat on the ice and placed a finger atop it. Gathering her courage, she whispered the lullaby once more. "Light of memory, spark anew, release the shard of heart so true." The ice around the key glowed where her finger pressed, then fractured along radial lines. With a gentle push, the shard came free, floating upward as if buoyed by water. Noelle caught it, marveling at its warmth against the night's chill. But the moment she lifted the shard, the clearing warp shifted. The wind died, replaced by a hush thick with anticipation. Noelle's breath froze on her lips when she saw, across the brook's mirror surface, her grandfather standing in spectral form, eyes sad. "Noelle," his voice whispered, echoing across time. "Stay safe. Don't follow me." Tears welled in her eyes. "Grandfather, I'm coming for you," she called. He shook his head, fading back into darkness as ripples shattered the brook's reflection. The motes flickered anxiously, then drifted away toward a distant hollow. Noelle rose, heart pounding. Clutching the heart ice, she met the dream fox's gaze. "Let's go. We don't have much time." Guided by the motes, Noelle and the fox emerged into a clearing encircled by ancient pines whose branches drooped under centuries of snow. In the center stood a moss-covered stone ring, its surface carved with runes matching those on the Arch of Frost. "This is the threshold," the fox said. "Here, the sleeping heart awaits your light." Noelle placed the heart ice on a stone plinth in the ring's center. The runes glowed in response, revealing hidden steps leading downward into the earth. Together, they descended a spiral staircase carved from living rock, each step pulsing with latent magic. At the bottom lay a vast chamber, the air humming with power. In its center stood a crystalline heart, the size of a man's fist, surrounded by a pool of liquid starlight. The heart pulsed faintly, as if breathing. Noelle approached, heart racing. "This must be what Father..." sorry, I mean grandfather, spoke of. As she reached for the crystalline heart, a low rumble vibrated through the chamber. Shadows gathered at the edges, coalescing into Vern's shape, tall, cloaked in midnight, eyes burning with malice. "You have done well, Weaver's heir," he intoned. "But your journey ends here. Surrender the shard and your soul to me, and I will spare your village." Noelle stood firm, heart eyes glowing in her palm. "I'll never let you harm them." Vern's laugh echoed like cracking ice. He gestured, and nightmare wolves, skeletal with embers for eyes, sprang from the shadows, encircling her. The dream fox growled, luminous fur bristling. Noelle's pulse thundered. She remembered Greta's warning. This was a test not of strength, but of resolve. She held the shard aloft, whispering the lullaby's final lines. "By memory's spark and courage true, light the way and see us through." The shard fled, unleashing a wave of warmth that rippled through the chamber. The crystalline heart above responded, radiating golden light that banished the wolves, dissolving them into motes of mist. The pool's starlight steadied, and the heart pulsed strong. Vern recoiled, darkness peeling from him like a scorched cloak. He raised a hand, but no shadows answered. Noelle advanced to the pool's edge. With trembling fingers, she set the shard beside the sleeping heart. The two crystals merged, threads of light weaving into one. The chamber brightened until no shadow remained. When the radiance faded, Vern was gone, banished by the power of a weaver's light. Noelle stood in the illuminated chamber, the newly awakened crystalline heart floating before her. Its surface rippled like liquid light, a mirror of her own heartbeat. The breath of the hollow, an ancient pulse of magic, flowed through the stone walls, humming in resonance with the heart's glow. The dream fox padded beside her, its golden eyes reflecting both pride and concern. "The heart of ice is the seed," it said softly. "Now comes the true test. Your own memories, woven into its flame, must bind this lantern's power." Noelle closed her eyes, recalling every fragment of her journey. Her grandfather's warm embrace before he vanished, the lullaby that opened the arch of frost, the spectral warning at the frozen brook, the rush of courage as she faced Vern's wolves. Each memory shone with vivid clarity. Love, fear, hope. She took a deep breath and laid her hands upon the floating heart. A surge of light shot through her palms, and the chamber trembled. Threads of luminescence spiraled from the crystal, weaving themselves into patterns that traced ancient runes across the walls. The dream fox let out a low, approving sound. But Vern's voice slithered through the brightness. You cannot hold this power, child. Surrender it, and I may yet spare your precious village. Noelle's eyes snapped open. You underestimated me, she replied, voice steady. I carry the legacy of every weaver before me, and I choose to keep it. With that, she poured her final memory into the heart. Her grandfather's proud smile when she first mastered the lantern's wick, and his whispered promise that the light of memory could never be extinguished. The crystal flared, a supernova of warmth that banished every lingering shadow. Vern's shape dissolved in the brilliance, leaving only silence and the steady pulse of magic. When the light dimmed to a gentle glow, Noelle opened her eyes to see the heart of the lantern reborn, strong, pure, and bound to her very soul. Clutching the heart crystal, Noelle ascended the stone steps, the dream fox at her heels. Each footstep echoed with the promise of dawn. Outside, the snow had softened, and the first grey light of morning touched the treetops. They retraced their path through the whispering woods. The arch of frost glimmered and parted at Noelle's song once more. Silent motes dancing in greeting. Greta the snow owl met them at the crystalline cavern, nodding sage approval before vanishing on the morning wind. By the time they reached Snowpine's edge, the village was stirring. Smoke curled from chimneys, and golden lanterns dotted windowsills, waiting for the grand lantern's return. Noelle's heart fluttered with anticipation. Would her grandfather still be safe? As they crossed into the square, the dream fox paused and looked back. Its voice, once crystalline, now carried a note of farewell. My duty is done. Dreams will flow freely again, but the bond we share remains. Farewell, weaver's heir. Noelle knelt and stroked the fox's snowy fur. "Thank you, friend," she whispered. "I will never forget you." With a final nod, the dream fox trotted into the woods. Its glowing tracks faded, leaving Noelle to face what awaited her. At the base of the watchtower, Grandfather stood in the gathering crowd, eyes wide as the first ember of dawn lit the horizon. Mervyn approached Noelle, his face alight with relief and wonder. "The lantern awaits its new heart," he said quietly, "and its weaver." Noelle climbed the tower steps, each one a step toward destiny. In the chamber, the old lantern's frame lay before her, cool iron and empty crystal slots waiting. She placed the heart crystal into its center. The runes on the lantern's frame glowed, responding to her touch, and then, as if awakened after centuries of slumber, the crystal filled with living flame. Light swelled until the chamber burst with warmth. Noelle stepped back, shielding her eyes, as the lantern's glow cascaded out the tower windows and across the square. Villagers gasped, then erupted into jubilant cheers. Grandfather emerged, tears in his eyes, and rushed to embrace her. "My brave weaver," he said, voice thick. "You have rekindled more than a flame. You have restored hope." Noelle smiled through her own tears. "We did it together," she replied softly. Below, Mervyn lifted his staff and called to the crowd, "Let this light stand as proof that courage and memory, they are the greatest magic of all." In the days that followed, Snow Pine celebrated with renewed joy. The festival of the longest night transformed into the festival of remembrance, honoring both the fallen shadows and the light that banished them. Villagers shared their own tales of courage. A blacksmith who lit morning fires from memory's spark. A healer who sang the weaver's lullaby to soothe night's terrors. Noelle inherited her grandfather's post as lantern keeper, though she preferred the title Weaver of Light. Under her guidance, apprentices learned to bind their memories to candlelight, forging lanterns that glowed with personal stories, joy, loss, love, and hope interwoven in every flame. Each evening, Noelle climbed the watchtower to tend the grand lantern. Before she left, she placed a single fresh pine bough upon the sill, a token of gratitude to the whispering woods and the friends she had found there. Then she sang the lullaby. Sleep, dear child, in dreams of white. The lantern's light guards through the night. Far below, the village settled into gentle rest, every window a testament to a story saved by courage. And in the quiet hush, Noelle would sometimes catch a glimmer of stardust between the trees, proof that the dream fox still watched over their dreams, forever bound by the light she wove. And that brings us to the end of tonight's tale. Thank you for joining me on Dreamy Sleep Tales as we ventured through the snow-kissed pines of Snowpine Village and witnessed Noelle's courageous journey. If you enjoyed this adventure, please give a thumbs up, share it with fellow dreamers, and don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell so you never miss a new bedtime story. Sweet dreams, dear listeners. May the light of your own memories guide you through the darkest nights. Until next time, sleep well and stay enchanted. Good night.